So, what are the signs that somebody is fake in love with you? This applies to both men and women because we see the same type of behavior in men and women. All right, it's like finding out if somebody's cheating. You're gonna see basically the same signs in a man and a woman, like almost literally the same signs. So today we're gonna be talking about that, and we're gonna be talking about it from a few different perspective. We're gonna talk about it in terms of behavior, right? What people do that show you they're faking love, but also we're gonna talk about projections. How to identify somebody who's projecting on you emotions that don't really come as a result of you, but really come from because of their past. So we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna name them. They're gonna have names to them. We're gonna say how to identify somebody who's projecting that, how to find out if you're the one who's projecting that, and you can use understanding these types of projections to have a sense of whether or not the person who you're with is really looking at you. Because a lot of the times an example is, let me give you an example. It's like if somebody gets dumped, right? And they're on the rebound, right? So that's an example. When somebody's on the rebound, you got to be very careful, because especially if they got dumped or cheated on, or they went through some traumatic experience with their dating lives. Those people will naturally have a lot of high intensity with the love they show to you. And even sometimes you might even look like their exes, right? So if you meet somebody like that, you got to be very aware. You got to be very suspicious, at least in the beginning, in the first 3 months, because that might be fake love, right? That's an example of a projection, right? And you could easily identify that in somebody. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, so that you could go a little deeper in looking at and understanding people rather than just looking at behavior, because behavior does matter, but their past matters, and also understanding these archetypes matter as well. So remember, this is all about, when it comes to finding out if somebody really loves you, it's all about looking for two factors: timing and consistency. Too much emotions too fast is a red flag. Too little, no, taking too long to show emotions, it's also not good, right? And also consistency. Does his or her words match his or her actions, right? So it's not about what they do really, but it's about the timing and how consistent they are with their actions. That's what matters. So one thing that shows is love bombing. All right, when somebody love bombs you, and love bombing is always the timing of being too much, being too fast, right? Being too fast is not a good thing. So what they do, and the other aspect of the opposite of love bombing, is when it take too long to decide up whether or not they want to be in a relationship with you. Ladies and gentlemen, if a person is undecisive and it takes some months, more than 4 or 5 months to consider whether or not they want to be in a relationship, to choose you over somebody as an example, that's a red flag. That's not that he loves you. He's just here. That's not that he loves you, or that's not that she loves you. Like, they're just settling for you. Let me tell you something, man. And somebody that really likes you will like you from the start. Not like you from the start, but at least will like you in an appropriate manner. They won't. They're not gonna want to marry you the first week, but after 2 or 3 months, and even at least after a month, they're gonna have a good sense of how they really feel about you. Somebody that takes longer than that, it's a really, 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 really red flag, in my opinion. But let's talk about love bombing, the fast one, because that's a fun one. And this type of person will give you a lot of gifts fast. If this person is rich, they'll give you a lot of gifts, take you places. They'll want to impress you. And at first, it's nice. At first, it's flattering. At first, it's unique because maybe you've never been on a helicopter. But after a while, you start to see a darker side. This person might, all of a sudden, when they do something wrong, rather than apologize, they'll buy you something. When they cancel dates on you, or when they cannot see you for some reason, rather than make it up to you with their actions, they buy you something. right? Or you notice that every time they mess up, they take you on a trip, right? What was nice at first now became toxic. That's not the sign of somebody that likes you. Especially, for example, us guys, right? If a guy has money and he buys you expensive stuff, that's not important. But if he doesn't have money and buys you something that's kind of expensive, it's actually flattering, right? So it's all about context. And the next one is words and promises. When somebody's always using words, an example is kind of like, I met a woman one time many years ago. Long story short, we met, nothing happened, but then she never called me back, right? And that's okay. But then I met her randomly a few days later, and then she was like, "Oh my God, Alexis! Oh my God, we gotta hang out. We gotta see each other. Let's do it. Let's meet up. I'm gonna text you later on when I get home, okay?" And I'm like, "Bitch, I didn't even ask you that. Like, why are you so eager to try to convince me that? Like, I didn't even ask you. I'm just saying hi and bye." And then she was like, "No, let's hang out." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll wait for it." And she never hit me up. Like that. That's the point. When their actions don't meet the words, and they're talking, but you notice they have a history of not following through, fuck that. They don't know. That's just them lying to you, right? So words and promises. Too many promises fast. Too many promises too soon. Also, promising to be in a relationship, promising to give you the boom boom without no action, promising how wait a little bit longer until I'm ready, or I'm too busy with work. When I'm done with school, maybe we can be in a relationship, or when my job becomes more stable, maybe we could finally start going out. When I heal, maybe we could see each other. When coronavirus ends and the quarantine is done, we'll see each other. Get the fuck out of here. People, don't with too many promises at first, especially promises that take a long time to fulfill in terms of you guys being together. It is bullshit. Most of the time they're just being attention whores. But most important is words without action. That's the most important. Words without action. Now, it could be the opposite is not true. Action, words, no words, but all action is a good thing. For example, if a guy never tells you or a girl never tells you she loves you, but her actions show it, that just means this person can't express themselves. Give them a break. But if somebody says they love you a lot, but their actions show otherwise, you better tell them to go fuck themselves. I mean, no, Alexis, relax. Like, learn to be more nice, Alexis. You better tell them to get out of here, because that is just a sign of somebody who's just messing with you. Understand that words are the most powerful things humans have to control how you feel and how you see the world. The right words can pretty much mess you up mentally. So you can't really buy into the things that people say, especially when they have a history of not following through. Now, let's talk about projections. Like I said, if he's recently out of a relationship, he might be projecting, especially if you look like his exes. So identify the man or woman in this section. You want to identify these types of people. You can tell the type of projection by their past and archetypes. All right. So be aware of this. So let's talk about these archetypes. The first one is the James Bond projection. All right. This type of woman is in love with men that are womanizer, like James Bond, right? And this applies to men and women, people, right? And all of these things, you're either the one projecting, or you might be with somebody who's projecting that. Either or, you have to be careful, because if you notice that you're one of these people that are projecting because of the way I described the past, you might say, "Oh my God, that's me." You want to be you want to see that, and not just watch this video to accuse people or to categorize people, but to also categorize yourself and see where the fuck you fit and stop projecting. By the way, if you guys ever need one-on-one coaching to work with me one-on-one, you guys can click on the description down below where it says work with me one-on-one to see all the coaching options: phone coaching, email coaching. And also check out my courses that I have. Natural Chemistry is a course that I have for women who are in relationships. This course will teach you everything you need to know about setting boundaries, how to communicate, how to get a guy to do things for you, how to get a guy, how to find out if he's being faithful, um, how to keep a guy long term. All of those qualities are very important, and you could get it at $97, and it's a 30-day money back guarantee. And the other course is the psychological game of attraction, which is a course that I have for women who are single, and it'll take you within the first 3 months of the relationship. All right, go check it out. It's a course that I made specifically for women who are single. Click on the description down below and you'll see where you could purchase it. So, the James Bond projection. She wants him to stop womanizing, right? He is successful and older and a womanizer. Women want to change him. He does not change. She'll be looking for his love and attention, and she'll never really receive it from him. If he does give it, she'll grow bored, right? So this type of man is a type of man that every woman basically wants, right? He is wanted by other women. And the reason and the reason why you're attracted to this type of person is because the father gave you pretty much too much inappropriate attention, because mom wasn't that amusing to him. She gave into it by playing the little girl that became the way, and that became the way she got love, right? She pretty much learned to charm her dad, to be that happy little girl around her dad, and that's how she associated getting love from people, right? And a lot of times, she gets used to being the girl that dad wants. She'll fall for guys who are older all the time. Once the projection is turned on, she'll see the guy as a romantic. So you see everything. If you're a woman, you see everything that he does as a romantic thing, right? When in reality, you're not really seeing him. You're only seeing a projection of your past, right? They're drawn to the narcissistic side because if the man is affectionate, they'll grow bored, right? And also that even applies if you're a man, right? Women who have daddy issues, women who never got loved from their father. Unfortunately, as a guy, if you fulfill and give them what they lack, a lot of the times the projection will get turned off, because what they really want is to want. Once they have, the projection is automatically turned off, sometimes involuntarily. They'll feel the way they'll grow bored. They'll feel like they're being used. What they must see is the projection and how the attention dad gave was inappropriate, and stop idolizing him. And once you stop idolizing the dad that gave you way too much inappropriate attention because his wife really wasn't as fun as she used to be, which these things happen, people. We could read books about this type of stuff, people. Even the Laws of Human Nature talks about this, actually. So yeah, the James Bond projection. So you got to be careful with that, especially if you have daddy issues. And also, if you are the type of guy that is a womanizer, that is older, successful, a lot of women will come to you and start to project those types of things. Look for women who had daddy issues. Look for women who had too much inappropriate attention from their fathers. If you give them what they want, the projection will get turned off. And what you saw, you realize that you were the way what she was seeing really wasn't you. It was really just an opaque image of her own projections. The next one is the Marilyn Monroe projection. They think they found the ideal woman, right? So you might be a woman, and you might have this archetype, right? Or you might be a man, and you identify a woman who fits this archetype. You gotta listen. They'll think they found the ideal woman, perfect and all and wild. But as they grow closer, they become disenchanted, or don't get close enough to break the spell, and the woman moves on. Either way, they are chasing someone who doesn't exist. The woman who sparks this projection are cold and not that interested. So if you're somebody who's cold as a woman, you're going to be sparking this type of projection in a man. And you got to realize that, yes, they're chasing you, but they're chasing you because your coldness is activating a certain mechanism, not a mechanism, but a certain projection, right? In order to keep those types of people or men, you got to keep them at arm's distance. They have a blank screen to project things on. They don't need him. They're self-absorbed. She's hard to submit, particularly narcissistic women. If you're a narcissistic woman, realize that a lot of the reasons why these men are falling for you, it's not because they love you for you. They love you because you're sparking a projection, boo boo. She appears like a free spirit, creative, assertive. This makes men want to loosen up around her. These men never got the attention they needed from their mother. So if you're meeting a guy who never got attention from their mother, whose mother was narcissistic, right? Notice how they go after the narcissistic woman, whose mother was traumatized and couldn't really love because she was so self-absorbed because of the pain she felt, forced her to always be looking at her problems and not focusing on others. They'll have that need to find a woman and to make up for what they lost with their parents. The mother wanted the child to give them what they never got from a man. This gives a man an emptiness that's hard to fill, and they can't verbalize it, but they'll chase after it their whole lives. These men need to let go of their fantasies by finding his own anima, his own feminine spirit, and let go of the fantasy. These types of men fall for the narcissistic woman, right? So if you meet a guy who's always falling for a narcissistic woman, which you could ask, you could understand that if you fit that archetype, you might be creating that projection. So what's the solution for these types of men? See the pattern. They need to interact with a real woman and accept their flaws rather than going after a fantasy woman. They need to learn how to find the fun within rather than using women to find fun. In other words, get a life, find a sense of purpose. They need to learn to find fun within rather than using women. Get in touch with their feminine spirit and relate to women in your life more. The next one, the bad boy. Right? This one, if you're a man and women consider you like a bad boy, you got to understand that you might be creating projections, and it might be the cause of your temporary relationships. If you're a woman and you're into the bad boy, you might have a lot of blind spots where you're seeing things that are not there. You might misinterpret some of their behavior that are hostile or that are not as good as you think as signs that they like you. So beware, because you might be creating a cloud of smoke that's making it difficult to see reality eyeball to eyeball. This man is young and not that successful and outside of the social circle. It'll be taboo if you date him. An example is like Jack from Titanic, right? Where Jack from Titanic was outside of her social circle. He was poor. He wasn't rich, right? He had the complete opposite lifestyle that Rose had. And that's what made him so appealing, because he represented freedom to her. Not approved by their family. Remember in Titanic? This broke dude, I don't know why I wrote that. This broke dude will seem unconventional and a rebel. Rather than broke and broken, the woman will see this as good traits, like the Titanic syndrome. Right? This type of woman has a strong and patriarchal father. Like the Titanic girl, this father was critical, and she never felt like he was enough. Right? This is literally the book in Titanic. So listen to you. If you're somebody whose father was like this, you might mistake a guy who is outside of your life, outside of your social circle, from another country, different social class. And there's nothing wrong with loving somebody like that. But it's not good when you love them because you're projecting, because then it was never really going to be genuine. Rather than developing her own rebellion, this father was critical and never felt like she was enough. All she dreamed as rebelling, but discipline caused her rebellion to be suppressed into her rebellious animus. Rather than developing her own rebellion, she projects it onto men who appear rebellious. The woman would chase a young man so that it don't remind her of her older man. If a woman notices this projection, she must realize that she just has to develop the assertiveness and willingness to disobey herself. You can build this up slowly by saying no and breaking rules from time to time. By being assertive, she can have a relationship that are more equal, right? Rather than looking for the rebellious in a man, This type of woman has to look and become her own and find ways to rebel on her own through her art, through creativity, through her work, right? Through sports, whatever way. But if you're a man and you're somebody who fits this description, especially if this woman comes from a very conservative family, patriarchal, understand that she might be projecting, and don't mistake what she's. And just keep an eye out for her. That's what I'm trying to say. Just keep an eye out, because these types of projection a lot of the times can be temporary, right? So she might show you that she likes you, but in reality, it's actually temporary a lot of the times. The next one, the Madonna. The woman who is less constrained, wild, and a bunch of energy. This woman might be from another culture, perhaps, and maybe broke as well, and appears weak and in need of help. He'll feel like he can help her out and be the hero. That's why I always tell women to use vulnerability, because you create this type of projection. But also from men, look, people, I tell you this to guys, you can't be feeling bad for people. You cannot be feeling bad for people. This is especially for guys who are empaths. You can't be feeling bad for people, because by you feeling too bad for people, you pretty much open yourself up to be manipulated in this way. So if you're noticing that a woman comes across as too weak, motherfucker, you better be alert, because that might be manipulation for a lot of the times. Not often, right? The man who falls for this, men of this type have a strict mother and are consciously attracted to perfect looking women, and unconsciously want the rebellious woman. Oh, fuck, sounds like me, people. Sounds like me, to be honest with you. They want the mother figure as a wife, but want the slutty kind of girl. They feel like this woman is weak and are lured by the pleasures that this wonderful woman seems to offer her, right? So if you date a guy who has very strict parents, who came from a very conservative background, who because of religion you had to suppress sexuality, and you're a woman that fits this description, and you meet him, he might be sparking that projection, right? And he may not be looking at you. He might be just having fantasies. I remember I went out with this girl, and a perfect example of that. I remember there was this girl who I fell for. Long story short, it took years to get over her, right? And she was Mexico. She was in Mexico. And 2 years ago, I met another girl that I didn't like her at first. But one day she came over. I was drunk and I was laying down, and I saw her. I looked at her, and all of a sudden she looked like my ex. She just looked at her. I was like, what the fuck? I never noticed, but she kind of looks like her. And then all of a sudden, all of the emotions I have for my ex literally transfer over to her. It was so fucking weird, where I stopped liking her and now I liked her. That's an example of a projection. She did nothing to deserve that, right? And because she did nothing to do it, there's nothing that she could do to control how I feel about her. Maybe I'll stop liking her once she validates me, and that's what happened. That's what happened. I turned cold after a while, right? Because it was really a projection, you know? Men of this type have strict mothers, right? Rebellious. They want the mother figure, yep. But they feel like this woman is weak and are lured by pleasures that this wonderful woman seems to offer. But this type of woman is very manipulative, and their anima is masculine and masochistic. These men need to develop some challenges and take more risk and develop their sensual side and get the woman who they're with to engage it rather than trying to find her. The next one, we got two more people, is the Picasso projection. This type of man seems like the strong man who's superior and has his life set, even if he's older, because of his confidence. She's attracted because it'll give her a sense of power and superiority indirectly. To others, he appears disgusting and disorganized, but the woman sees it as a spiritual woman. People don't seem to understand him, but others don't. But she understands him. This will make her feel elevated and feel strong. It'll feel like the father that she's missing. But once married, she feels like he don't love her. He only sees her as a secretary, right? These projections, this happens if you're If you're a man who is confident, older, a man of power, you're gonna attract a lot of women who are younger, right? And who are looking for a father figure. And you got to realize that those women most of the time are projecting. This man will possibly marry this type of woman, but what these women will notice is that after a while, they'll realize that he never really loved her. You know, unfortunately, this comes from a feeling of inferiority feeling of inferiority. They've told her who she is and how to behave, and as a result, she'll look for those traits in the men around her because she don't know who she is. The men will love this because it's great to have a woman who adores her, like the professor who falls for the student. The woman will either be disappointed or leave, or feel trapped. The last one is a second mother, right? This man feels like something's missing in his life until an attentive woman comes into his life. He'll feel like this woman will help him feel comfortable and happy. After a while, the woman will stop admiring him and less attentive. This man would then feel mad at the fact that she stopped loving him and make him angry as a result, right? The mama's boy will create this type of projection. This is usually from dudes who are mama's boys. When he grows up, he'll try to live up to the expectation of mother and will create a deep ambition. He'll pick a woman to be manipulated to manipulate her into the role of the mother. The woman will resent this and the man will blame her for changing. So if you're dating a mama's boy, what you'll notice is that he'll try to put you in the mama's role soon, real fast, right? After a while, the woman will stop. Okay. He'll pick a woman to manipulate her. Yep. The man will struggle dealing with this because the emotions are emotions of his childhood and will lessen and it'll increase the feeling of abandonment from his mom. Even if he got her, even if he got to marry her and stuff like that, he'll feel angry at the dependence he felt for his mother. He'll either sabotage it or leave the relationship quality that he projects onto women. He must see this ambition in order to please his mother, right? He must learn to soothe himself and withdraw. He must learn to care for himself. This will improve his relationships by giving more and not expecting as much. This will give the women a desire to please him rather than to be pushed into it, right? So if you're a man and you're a mama's boy, my dude, you might be creating these types of projections. And it's not healthy because women can sense it. But if you're a woman and you're dating a mama's boy, you got to realize that he's seeing you as his mom. And he might even act and start regressing from time to time. And all of that attention you're getting really doesn't come from you. It comes from his projection. It comes from his past. And sooner or later, that relationship will collapse. You know? All right, ladies. So finally, I have released my second course for women, which is natural chemistry. This course is a 5-week course. 5-week course where every week you're going to get a new set of videos based on specific issues. This course is all about how to create and maintain the attraction in any man. This will help you create love. This will help you deepen the love with your man. This is not about manipulation. This is not about playing games. This is genuine natural chemistry. No more short-term partners, no more being fooled. Why? Because I will reveal to you not only how to create attraction in the first week, but also how to understand male nature, how to understand their tricks, how to prevent from being too attached, signs that he's the wrong guy, signs that he's a narcissist, signs that he's a mama's boy, signs that he's an emotionally available guy, emotionally unavailable guy. We go over everything. We go over this 3rd week, setting boundaries. We go over the 3rd week, controlling your emotions, right? Setting boundaries, 4th week. 5th week, embracing your masculine and the feminine, right? And on top of that, I have over 10 different bonuses. 10 different bonuses. My Lord have mercy, right? With a money back guarantee. The bonus are 1. The natural chemistry, over 10 hours of content, right? The breakup formula, how to deal with a breakup, right? The connecting with your man, right? Establishing a life of abundance, social mastery, understanding your dark side, the goal setting seminar, which is about how to set and achieve goals, practical mastery that will teach you how to master anything. The laws of human nature, I have a book club for the laws of human nature with over 4 hours of content, right? the transformational seminar in a pocket, which is my mindfulness seminar, and the Chase audiobook. This originally is $1,800, but you get it starting at $97, ladies and gentlemen, right? $97. We have different packages, but all of this starts at $97. And you know what? You can check it out for free if you want. Yeah, for all the freeloaders, I have free videos just for you. Free videos, all right? So you could just check it out for free, and then you could get out. Nothing wrong with that, all right? So, and on top of that, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked. That's right. No questions asked. I don't mind. I just want you guys to check it out, because I know when you take one look, you're going to want to buy it. I can promise you. Just like my other course, the psychological game of attraction, it was a hit. You're going to love this one. This one is not about manipulation. This is genuine natural chemistry. Order it now, all right? I'll see you guys inside. Peace out.